Hello, how are we doing today? My name is Spectrum Dominus, and we are continuing our PSA submission, cleaning cards for PSA. We have 58 cards going to PSA. We have done a large portion of them, but we have left a larger portion of them. So we're going to do this as either one or two videos. Either 2 or 3 videos. We're going to get going now. Try to do this in half an hour to 40 minutes, and then we'll stop and see where we are for the next video. But let's not take up too much time. I hope you watched the previous video. I will probably be referring to random cards from those videos. But the first one is an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, I didn't even switch. There we go. In a previous video, in fact, video number 1, part 1, Sugar sent in this exact card, except not the exact card. The Illusions Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it was a Starburst. This one is a gold 141 out of 149. They're both rookies. I have this, and then I have a Galaxy Jaylen Waddle rookie from the same set that are going in. Amon-Ra, this probably would have been a good one to have a couple weeks ago when he signed his extension. His card prices probably surged then. Now I need him to have a big season again, which is very possible. In fact, probably pretty likely. So we're gonna tell you what about the illusion cards. They clean up a lot. Like a lot of these, I don't see any difference after I wipe them, and probably that's a good thing. You probably shouldn't be seeing much difference. Probably wipe them and go, yep, looks like a card. But that came out afterwards. I don't know, it feels like it's shinier and there's no dust whatsoever and very pretty. We open these, we don't touch them with our hands from the get-go, so a lot of the reason people clean them is to get those fingerprints off. I use gloves, so we never put the fingerprints on, so I don't even know if what I'm doing, if the wiping is really helping much. In fact, in theory, it might be hurting. Like, well, you had it with no fingerprints, you put it into a sleeve immediately, you put it in a top loader immediately, and then you pulled it out of all of that to wipe it off when it didn't need to be wiped, and then slide it in one of these things that they don't fit in. You're like, what do you mean they don't fit in? You see how much trouble I have getting them in. These things are not the easiest thing in the world to work with. And that's why they like them. They like them that way because they keep the card tight. I understand that, but it also means that there's a good chance of damaging it, taking it in and out. So the next one is also an Illusions. We did buy a lot of Illusions that year. He didn't get an email. Well, then he gave me the wrong email address, and he's going to have to send me a DM with the right email address because all I did was send it to the same email he's always had. It's the same website we've always used, so he must have changed emails. Anyway, but this is basketball, and we got 2 Illusions basketball going this time. One is this, I don't know if it's yellow, orange, or gold, but it's a LaMelo Ball. I believe he got injured this year. Don't know much about basketball, guys, but I believe the reason his prices are down and no one's really talking about him is because he spent this season injured. So now is a perfect time to get it graded so that when he comes back, if he starts playing good, you got it and you're ready to go. The other one I got, the other basketball Illusions I got is a base rookie, but it's probably the best base rookie to have right now. We'll be doing that one next. Let's get this ball in sleeve. And then one of these stupid things. So this PSA plan that I have going, it's been a plan for a long time. And this is one of, I mean, before I would consider tearing apart my upper deck set for the Ken Griffey, or even getting the Shohei Ohtani rookie. This is one of the first cards that when I got it, I was like, this is what made me think, I got to get that ball. He was still playing at the time. He was doing really well. And I was like, let me get that done. And it's been a while since the plan was planned. And here's the base one we're doing, and it's Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, one of the 3 guys, from what I understand, that could have won the MVP this year. I was told, I asked my nephew, who's big into basketball and sports and stuff, I asked him if Luka deserved the MVP. Or was it Shea Gilgeous, whatever his name is, Alexander, something like that, or Anthony Edwards. And he said, honestly, none of them had an overwhelming case. It could have went to any of the 3 and it would have been fine. And then my take on that then becomes, if that's the case, if you can give it to anyone of the 3, and justifiably so, then the one person I wouldn't give it to is the guy that had 2 in the last 3 years or whatever it was. Because if he's going to end up with 6 or 7 MVPs, I want him, and he's going to be compared to the all-time greats. I don't want him to have 1 or 2 that's in there that's like, yeah, he probably didn't deserve this one. That probably should have went to Shea, but he got it, and now his numbers are as big as the all-time greats. So I feel like, just giving one to one of the other guys that are just as justifiable and letting him go out and prove that he deserves a 3rd one, and or those guys deserve, they get a 2nd one to prove that that one was justified, is the way to go. So that's just me. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, here's another Anthony Edwards. This one is a Prism draft picks. People don't like the Prism draft picks as obviously as much as the regular ones because they want them in their jerseys, and he's still in his Georgia jersey. But Anthony Edwards cards are so fire right now that this draft picks rookie is going for over $100. It's one of the problems with draft pick cards, or I should say Prism cards, is that when they're in there too long, they start sticking to the top loaders. So good thing we're getting this one out, brushing it off, letting it go in a brand new penny sleeve. Card number 1. They knew he was the best. They knew he was the guy. They made him number 1 in the set. I, however, am a fan of the draft pick sets. We buy the draft pick sets every year. Football, and this year we did basketball. I like the draft pick sets. They're Prism cards. Oh, and this is not only just Prism, but it is a Prism refractor. So, not only are they Prism cards, which is the best of the best when it comes to rookie cards in basketball and football. But they're early. So you get them early, they're cheaper because people don't want them, and then when players really hit, people don't care that they were the college card, So I'm a big fan of them. Here's a Randy Johnson. This one and the next one are along the lines of the same as the Ken Griffey. I opened my set for the Ken Griffey, but got a Randy Johnson rated star rookie in there, and so we're gonna get that one graded as well. I don't break up sets for nothing. Actually, that's not true. I'm breaking up all my sets, and some of them I'll pretty much be doing for nothing. I'll be like, yep, there's nothing in here except for I'm gonna throw a few cards in my PC. Look, this set has a Mattingly and a Ryan, so they can go in the PC, but there's no rookies, so I basically did it for nothing. But you guys keep watching Sorted Cards for Grading Purposes series, and you'll see all that nonsense coming up. I do feel like I'm getting a little faster at these. Another one just like the Randy Johnson is the John Smoltz rookie from that set. This one is one that surprisingly to me, and it's not that if you told me this card was only, out of 10 was only worth $35, I would be like, oh, okay, that's kind of surprising, but whatever. But then when you say the Randy Johnson is over 100, I'm like, well, there's a disparity there. And I understand why Johnson goes for more than Smoltz. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blind to that fact. But because it's the 89 Upper Deck card, because it's a Smoltz rookie, I expected it to do better when you look at the comparative people. Now maybe the Smoltz card has a higher 10.0 rate, and thus there's a higher pop out there, and thus there's, but I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like it's more of a Smoltz was a part of a machine, him and Glavin and Maddox and Avery, and whereas Johnson is just the greatest hardball pitcher to ever play the game. All right, this one has a blue tape on the top. What I was doing when I was sending stuff into Next Level Grade is I take a piece of tape and I put a smaller piece of tape right there in the middle so that it's not sticky, and then I put the tape over the top so that there's no sticky on the top, and I tape the cards in so that they wouldn't slide out during shipment. I'd also write the name of whoever it was, me or Sugar or Yofro or whoever was getting it graded, Todd, on the tape. But so this means that I have been wanting to get this one graded for a while. I almost sent it to Next Level Grade. That's how long I've been wanting to. It's been, last time I sent to Next Level Grade was in July of last year, and that's assuming it was in the last shipment, which it probably wasn't. But this is a cool card. It's a Jaylen Waddle Galaxy from Illusions. Talked about it earlier when we had the Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I talked about it earlier when we had the numbered Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I love the rainbow to this card when you put a little light on it, how it sparkles and has a rainbow there. It's a very pretty card. I don't know that it's going to get me a lot in the, even if it gets a 10, which I would like it to. I don't know that it gets me a lot in the resale market, but I think that if you find a Dolphins fan, they could really like that card. It's a pretty rookie of one of their best draft picks of the last, probably one of their best draft picks of the last decade. Gotta like him better than Tua. Tua's doing fine, but all right, Jaylen Waddle. All right, then we move back to WWE. This one's getting graded not because I like them. It's not like Julius Creed. I'm not a huge Bianca Belair fan. Don't dislike, but liked her more when she was first coming up. I haven't liked her run up here. I feel like she's pushed a little too hard, but I like what she's doing now. I like her with Jade. But this is out of 25, so got to get that graded. I've talked about wanting to have variety. I talk about this fictional case like I'm sitting down at a convention and I have my own case. That doesn't happen. I don't see that. I'm not saying that'll never happen, but it's not something that I'm really striving towards. But I am looking to have that type of variety. I'm looking to have that type of, like, even if it's just in my Zion case or something, I want my collection that people are going through or looking at to have variety. I have a lot of non-sports cards that I wanted to send. I think I said this in the first video, but or maybe it was in the prep before the video started. But when I got on PSA and decided to start prepping my cards, I wanted to get these all listed first, because if there was a problem with one of them, I wanted to switch cards up. Like, there's 2 or 3 cards that I was going to do, and then I decided to shift. So I got that all listed and everything going, but what I found while I was setting it up was that if it has an autograph, that's a different. I can just send it to get graded, but if I want the auto grade on there as well, which I do, you have to do it differently. If you have a card in a top loader, a card not in that. I was going to do this Jamar Chase, Phoenix rookie, that's graded a 10 from GMA. But if you're going to get them to grade something that's in someone else's thing, that's a different price as well, and you have to do that a different way. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to crack it and just send it, or if I wanted to send it that route, so I pulled it out. I think I'm going to send it already in a case and pay the money, but I'll just do it in a separate one later. So I don't remember exactly what I was talking about. Here's the Anthony Volpe paper we talked about earlier. But yeah, so I have a lot of stuff, but one of the things is like Star Wars, for example. I have a couple Star Wars cards I'd like to get graded, but they have a special Star Wars thing going on right now. But to get that, you have to send 20 Star Wars cards, and I'm like, I don't have 20 Star Wars cards, not to get graded. I do, just not separated yet. I haven't really gone through and separated them yet. Oh, that's not good. All right. So I didn't get to use those cards, and that's so I can't have the variety I want just right out of the gate. I have to have these all sports. So the wrestling is like my spice of variety for the time being. I got baseball, I've got football, I've got 3 basketball, and that's not true. I've got more basketball. There's more basketball coming because I got, and the Kobe's. So I've got probably 10 basketball-ish. I've got 3, 2 Kobe's is 5, 2 Shaqs, I think, so maybe 7. So it's just that's where I'm getting my variety is, that and a few wrestling cards. But I need to make another one that's all non-wrestling cards. Some of the stuff I've opened, Buffy cards or the DC cards or the Marvel card, that kind of stuff. I got to get some of that graded as well, just to have the variety. But to do that, I have to decide if I want to send those to PSA or do I send those to CCG, because that's the trading card one, and that's really starting to pick up. It's not looked down upon. There's so many different new ones that pop up that you're like, well, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to send it to next level grades and then find out that no one is going to use next level grades, and now it's just like that GMA. I have it. It's a 10, but no one respects it as a 10. So I have to get it switched over. But it looks like for trading card games, and I'm assuming, non-games, but things like Garbage Pail Kids or Star Wars cards or whatever, sending these things to TCG is a good strategy. So I got to look into that, and maybe we'll put together. I know someone who has an account. I got to ask him some questions. In fact, he was just in here a few minutes ago telling me something else. But look at that Babe Ruth short print. I just like that card, just like the short print Utani. I don't know how short print they are and how I do think that they could get up in the near triple digit range on a good day. But this one is probably the one that's the least valuable. It's a Mike Trout, but it's a red foil. Like earlier we did on the first video, we did a black foil of Cal Ripken, and I have a black foil of Joe Adele, although I'm not doing it. It is in the list to do, but I mean, Adele needs to really figure out what the hell's going on, because he was supposed to be so much better than he is. But this is Mike Trout, and I figure at some point Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He has his fans. I'm one of his fans. And someone will want this card and get it slabbed, and even if you have to sit on it for a decade, it's going to be like the Nolan Ryan card. All of a sudden, yeah, someone will end up paying $80 for it if it comes back at 10. So we've talked on the videos, guys. I've mentioned it many times. It's not a matter of how much a card is worth when you get it graded. And sometimes it is. Hell, the Ken Griffey Jr. is very much about how much it's worth when you graded it. But sometimes it's about how much the card is going to be worth later, and making sure you have it graded when that time comes. This is a perfect example. My next card is a Sam Howell. You're like, why? He got traded. He's no longer. Why Sam Howell? If you're going to do Sam Howell, why don't you do Mac Jones? Or why don't you do Kenny Pickett? Well, the difference between Sam Howell and Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett is Mac Jones went where Trevor Lawrence is. Mac Jones isn't taking that job from Trevor Lawrence. Kenny Pickett went to Jalen Hurts. Kenny Pickett is not taking that job from Jalen Hurts. Sam Howell went where Geno Smith is. And I suspect, whether it be by injury or just the fact that Geno Smith is not a good quarterback, and he had 1.5, if that, decent years, and Sam Howell had 1 year, and then they dumped him, and he was playing for the Washington Commanders, like they had the right to dump anyone. And on top of it, Russell Wilson, we've seen what he is. And it's very possible that Russell Wilson is just a product of the Seattle Seahawks system. And Geno Smith is just a product of the Seattle Seahawks system. And if Sam Howell gets a chance in there, he may be able to be a product of that system to the point where his cards take a surge. Now, do I think Sam Howell is great? No. I have no faith in Sam Howell. But do I have faith that Seattle can make a quarterback look good for a temporary period, enough for me to sell a card when it surges? I do have that. And when that happens, that's going to be a decent card to sell. It's a nice card, rookie, wave, variation, parallel. And I need it graded now so I can do that 4 weeks into the season when his cards surge, rather than, oh, look, I was wrong, let me go get it graded. Should I get Pickett's and Jones graded too? Sure, I should if I have time and space and money. Absolutely. But I don't have as much faith in them, just like I didn't with Trey Lance. I didn't think Trey Lance was going to take over the job from Dak Prescott. I do, however, think that Justin Fields will have the job from Russell Wilson before the end of the year. So doing Justin Fields would not be a bad idea either. I just feel like I have a little bit more time on that one. I have at least one Justin Fields I want to send in, and we'll probably get in on the next shipment if I can. If Wilson struggles, Fields will come in and probably never give it back to Wilson. He's got youth, he's got the evasiveness, and he has better receivers than he worked with, except, DJ Moore is much better than anything that Pittsburgh has, but he would have had better receivers had he stayed in Chicago now with Keenan Allen and Romadunze, along with DJ Moore, but he has a little bit more depth than he had. I think Pat Freiermuth could help him out a lot. This is the Jose Canseco we were talking about, 86 Fleer update. Here is a Tom Brady. This one was originally going to next level grades. It was for me. And then I thought about it and I was like, it's kind of like the Mike Trout. It's Tom Brady. It's press blue, which is a variation, and the helmetless short print. It's just too much on that card to not send it in and see what we can get for it. I am not opposed to taking some of my cards and like putting them on an eBay seller shop at a price and say, I will sell this for X amount, but I won't sell it for less than that. And while it's sitting there on that shop, it sits on my I put it on my wall as a display thing or a shelf or something. And this would be one of those type of cards. It's like, yeah, if someone wants to buy it for me for X amount, I get an idea of what it, others go for or what this is going for, and it's like, it's going for a 10.0 is going for $80, and I'm just making stuff up. I don't know. And I was like, okay, I'll put it in the shop for $100. If someone wants to pay me $100, fine, I'll sell it. Otherwise, it sits on my shelf because it's the greatest quarterback in Buccaneers history, and he did that in a matter of 3 seasons. I wish he wouldn't have left us. I understand why you did, Tom boy. It's okay, Tommy. You are beloved and can do whatever you want. Goat. Alright, and then we stay on the football, but we're going to go a little more vintage. Now, not vintage, not like true vintage. I'm not pulling a Dan Marino rookie here. But we got a action pack rookie Brett Favre. Now I did this when I was part of my entering them into PSA, guys, is you enter into PSA, you type in the card and it comes up and you click the right card and you say how many you got, and then you say the approximate price, the approximate value of that card after it's slabbed at PSA is what it says. So I guess they're saying if you think it's going to get a 10, what is the value of that card at a 10? And if you think it's going to get less than a 10, what's the value that you think it's going to get at the rating you think it's going to get? So I'm going through and I just did the 10.0 grade for everything. Everything's going to get a 10. I wouldn't have sent it in if I didn't think it was going to get 10. And there are some that I'm not sure that are going to get a 10, but I'd like to be optimistic. I don't know. So I went for this card, and this is one of those cards that I was doing because I liked Brett Favre when he was in Green Bay, and I just kind of wanted to get this one graded, just like the Pro Set Platinum that I did earlier. But when I looked it up, I think if I remember right, I looked it up. It was like the last sale of it was $120 or something. I was like, holy cow! Did not expect that at all. I did like the action pack sets. I didn't like them from a collecting standpoint because they were so fat and they're not flat sitting up against each other. But yeah, that's a cool card. All right, guys, we're going to call that there. We'll do the rest of them. We did this many. That's pretty good. And we've got this many left. And this is thinner. I mean, these are thicker than this is. So I'm thinking we did more than we have left. That took about a half an hour. So I'm going to do shut down and then go take care of some business. I'll come back and I'll do the last little bit. And that'll be a 4-video set for PSA. So thanks for coming out and hanging out. Check out the next video for the complete wrap up, and then we will package these up and send these off, and I'll see you guys then. Bye bye.